Hi there, folks. We're about to start the review on our quadratics unit. Okay. To start off with, we had a bit of a review on function notation and operations of functions. So, there are the functions f of x and g of x. Okay. And the first problem, number one, they want us to find f of x times g of x. So the first thing I do is I write them out. Okay? Okay, and then what I try to do then is I multiply it out. Okay, you could either use FOIL or you could use the box method. Either one, I do not care. Okay, and then since there really are no like terms to combine, that particular problem is finished. Okay, remember, it's a FOIL technique. You're going to do negative x squared times 5x, negative x squared times 2, negative 6x times 5, negative 6x times 2. Over here in the box, you're going to multiply 5x times negative x squared, 5x times negative 6x, 2 times negative x squared, and 2 times negative 6x. Now, as we look at these, we notice that we can combine the squared terms. Okay, we have negative 2x squared minus 30x squared, and that, if you notice, appears in both. So it simplifies to negative 5x cubed minus 32x squared minus 12x. Okay. And number two, and that is a cubic trinomial. Okay, they want us to describe the polynomial. Okay, it says write the simplified expressions and classifications on the line. So it is classified as a cubic trinomial. Okay, the second problem, they want us to subtract. So g of x minus f of x. So the first thing I do is I write my expressions in, and then because this is subtraction, I distribute it into the second set of parentheses. So minus negative x squared becomes plus x squared, minus negative 6x becomes plus 6x. Okay, and that simplifies to x squared plus 11x plus 2. That is a quadratic, because of the degree of 2, trinomial, because there are 3 items, there are 3 terms. Okay. And then in the last problem, they want us to add the 3 numbers together. Add the 2 expressions together. So I fill that in, and then I drop the parentheses because it's plus. Combine like terms. Negative 6x plus 5x is negative 1x. And then I can name this one as a quadratic trinomial as well. Okay, that is all for the first section. Okay, now the second section wants us to solve those with any method that we so choose. Okay, I will explain why I chose each method as we go through it. Okay, so for the first problem, I decided that I was going to use factor this one, because I can divide all of them by 4. Okay, when you divide all of them by 4, it makes these smaller, so I can factor out a 4, and then I easily saw that middle factor of 2. So that's why I decided to factor this one, because I said, hey, factors of negative 8 that give me positive 2, when I add them together, are negative 2 and positive 4. So that's why I chose factoring here. So x equals negative 2 and x equals 2. Okay, starting on number 5 now. In this problem, I quickly saw that I could factor this because I know the factors of 18 that add together to give me negative 9. If you list them, the ones that add up together to give me negative 9 are negative 3 and negative 6. So set each of these equal to 0, I get x minus 3 equals 0. I get x minus 6 equals 0. So x equals 3 or x equals 6. Okay, number 6. Okay. Now, they want me to complete the square with these. Okay, so I decided to do that on this problem here. And the reason I decided to complete the square was because after I got one side equal to 0, I noticed that my middle number is even. So because the middle number is even, I decided I can complete the square here. So first thing I did was I added my parentheses. Okay, and inside the parentheses I put a plus. Outside the parentheses I put a minus sign. Okay, then half of 18 is 9. 9 squared is 81. Okay, ignore this little scribble here. Okay, I just brought down the minus 19. So since I added 81 in parentheses, I have to subtract 81 out of parentheses. So I cleaned that up. I got x minus 9 squared. Once you factor this, half of 18 is 9. Okay, and then negative 19 minus 81 is negative 100. So to solve this, I get the group by itself. I add 100 to both sides. That gives me x minus 9 squared equals 100. I take the square root of both sides. Okay? So I get x minus 9 equals plus or minus the square root of 10. Notice that it's plus or minus. That's because I took the square root of the variable. So then I added 9 to both sides. So I had to find 9 plus 10, which is 19, and 9 minus 10, which is negative 1. And those are my solutions for number 6. Okay, number 7. Okay, in this case, I can't factor. I mean, I could factor a 10 out. That's great. Also, the middle number is not even. So I'm certainly not going to complete the square, and I don't know factors that will help me factor this very easily. It may be easily factorable, but I can't see it right away, so I'm not going to factor it. So that leaves me with quadratic formula. So the opposite of b, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c, all divided by 2a. So now I just have to simplify. So once you multiply negative 3 squared minus 4 times 10 times 6, you get negative 231. Okay, clean up the bottom, you get 20. Well, I can't leave my answer with a negative sign inside the radical, so I take that out and put an I in front of the radical, and that's my final answer because there is no way for me to simplify the square root of 231. Okay, so that's numbers 1 through 7. 8 and 9 are coming up next. Okay, number 8. Okay, remember you have to get one side equal to 0 when you have multiple powers of the variable. Okay, so I added 4 to both sides. Now, I do not quickly see how to factor this, even though I could. This one I do believe is factorable. Okay, so I use the quadratic formula. So the opposite of b, plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c, all over 2a. So then I clean that up. 21 plus or minus the square root of 361 divided by 10. Well, type 361 into your calculator, take the square root of it, and you'll find that that gives you 19. So you have to do 21 plus 19 divided by 10. Okay, that's 40. 40 divided by 10 is 4. Then you have to do minus. 21 minus 19 is 2. 2 divided by 10 is 1/5. So this one we could have definitely factored. And I know that because I have rational solutions. Rational meaning if I had to, I could write it as a fraction. Lastly, number 9. Okay, number 9. Okay, again, I need to get one side equal to 0. So I subtract 3 from both sides. Now, I suppose if I had to, I could divide everything by 2 and go from there. That middle number is even, so if I wanted to, I could complete the square. But since I'm not too sure, I'm just going to use quadratic formula. So, okay, actually, no, I did use completing the square. And it's because once I factored out a 2, I divided these by 2. Okay, leaving 6 in the middle. Half of 6 is 3. 3 squared is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. That's where that 18 came from. So now, once I factor this down, half of 6 is 3. Okay, so I get 2 parentheses x minus 3 squared minus 96 equals 0. So now, add 96 to both sides. I'm left with 2 times the group x minus 3 squared equals 96. Continue getting the group by itself. Divide by 2. So you get x minus 3 squared equals 48. Now it's time to undo the squaring. So I have to square root both sides. Okay. So, because I'm taking the square root of a variable, I have to have plus or minus the square root on both sides. Now, I can simplify 48. Okay? Yes, I can add 3 to both sides, and that gives me 3 plus or minus the square root of 48, but I can simplify 48. Okay, using this factor tree as you see over here. And I get 2, 2, 3. So take out a pair of 2's, that gives me 4, and then a 3 left over. Okay, that is the end of the first 2 sections on the review. Okay, the next section starts with the next clip.